Go.
All right, guys, so we're doing Cornell notes. Obviously, we're going to do fraction and decimal to percent. And we have that in our topic. Our essential question is, how do I change from fraction to decimal to percent? Toolbox I have yet to fill out, and reflection we'll fill it out when we get home. When we get back to class. Same with the questions. So here are our notes. We're going from fraction to decimal in this section. We're going from decimal to fraction in this box. Fraction to percent, percent to fraction, decimal to percent, and percent to decimal. Let's start with the first box. Fraction to decimal. In order to change it from a fraction like 3/4 to a decimal, you divide the numerator by the denominator. So 3/4, 3 would go inside, top dog in the house, and 4 would go outside. And then you would add your decimal and do your division. All right, decimal to fraction, you put the number over its last digit place value. So it's kind of like how you say it, and then you'll reduce. Example, decimal point 48. We say that is 48 hundredths. So we put 48 over 100, and then we would reduce it at that time. Fraction to percent. You set your fraction equal to x over 100. Now how this is my fraction was, let's go back up here to 3/4. I would put it equal to x over 100, and then I would solve for x. We'll show those examples below. Percent to fraction. You put the percent, meaning the number, over 100. Because your part is the percent and your whole is 100, and then you reduce the fraction. How this looks is that if you had 50%, you would put 50 over 100, and then you would reduce. Because your 50% is part and 100% is your whole. Decimal to percent, I like this one. It's easy. You move your decimal place.
To the right, to the right.
That's right. You move your decimal place 2 places to the right. And how this looks is that if you've got decimal point 43, that would become 43%. Obviously, you're going to want to add a percent sign because you're changing it from decimal to percent. Now, if you're changing it from percent to decimal, you do exactly the opposite.
To the left, to the left.
The decimal, or 2 places to the left. Now, how that looks is if you have 32%, you would take it and move it 1, 2, and that would equal decimal point 32. Fun stuff. Let's do some examples. So, example 1. And I'm just going to start from this one up here, fraction to decimal. I'm going to put F2D, because now you know that I'm talking about fraction to decimal. If my fraction is 3/4, I'm going to divide it, because that's what it says, divide numerator by denominator, top dog in the house. So that's going to be 3 divided by 4. I'm going to add a decimal point because I know 4 doesn't go into 3, and add a couple of zeros. And as Ms. Tufts loves to say, you bring the decimal up and you forget about it. All right, 4 can't go into 3, that's 0. 4 goes into 30 7 times, and that's 28. 2 left over, bring my 0 down. 4 goes into 20 5 times, and that's 20. Subtract them, I get 0. I have nothing else to bring down. There's my decimal point. I changed it from a fraction to a decimal. All right, next one. Let's do decimal to fraction. Drawing a line to show you that. Example 2, decimal to fraction.
D to F.
D to F, that's my abbreviation. All right, so if my decimal is decimal point, let's just look at decimal point 75. Oh, it's not. Yeah. Actually, decimal point 25. I like to use this one because everyone knows that's 25 cents. And let's see what that looks like as a fraction. So my rules say put the number over its last digit place value. So that's decimal point 25. This is the tenths. And this is the hundredths. So that means I say that 25 hundredths. So I put 25 over 100. I am not done yet. There's an important thing going on here. Reduce. I'm going to divide both top and bottom by the greatest common factor. Ooh, I'm going to put that in my toolbox. That's important. My greatest common factor here is going to be 25. So divide by 25. Divide by 25, and what I get here is 25 divided by 25 is 1. How many quarters are there in a dollar? 4. And my fraction is 1/4. Fun stuff.
You think in the toolbox maybe we should put our place value, our decimal place values? We've used them a whole lot today.
I like the way you're thinking. Let's put decimal place values. Do you want me to actually put them all in here? Or do you think they'll know? Tenths,
Hundredths, thousandths.
Can we put that in there?
Yeah, possibly.
All right.
I might have some kiddos that need this.
I have probably lots. Tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. There's an S I'm missing in there. We're good to go. All right. Draw a line. Let's do example 3 and example 4. Now I'm running to the bottom of my board. You might be running to the bottom of your page. So you might want to call this page B, of I think it's 39B. So I'm going to go on to the next page. I'm not going to make this whole top part up here. Instead, I'm going to divide the page and put questions and notes.
Because it's a continuation.
Because it is a continuation from that page. So over here, I'm going to do the notes. And these are the last two problems we're going to do. Oh no, I'm sorry. So here we got fraction 2%. Now over here, we did fraction to percent. Set your fraction equal to x over 100. So let's do the one we had as an example over there. 3/4 is my fraction. I'm going to put it equal to x over 100. So I want to see what I need to do. Cross multiply to solve. 4 times x is 4x. And then 3 times 100 equals 300. Opposite operation, multiplying, so therefore I will divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, or 1x as we call it. 300 divided by 4, I can tell you right now I know the answer to that. What is it, Ms. Tufts?
It's at 75.
It is. And if you want to look over here, we actually did that. So if you want to see the work without, you just ignore the decimal, it is 75. And we're going to add a percent sign. And our answer is 75%.
So that was a fraction to a percent.
That is correct. Now we're going to do a percent to fraction. Percent to fraction. And that's going to be, put the percent, my rules say, put the percent over 100, then reduce. So let's look at that. Let's do 25%. So the rule says to put the percent over 100. I can do that. 25 over 100. And then I need to reduce. Remember, that's finding the greatest common factor. And my greatest common factor for 25, and 100 is 25. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by the same number. 25 divided by 25 is 1. 100 divided by 25 is 4. And now I've gone from percent to fraction. All right, next one we have decimal to percent and percent to decimal.
2 more, y'all.
That's it. We're almost done. Let's go decimal to percent. So I love these. These are the easiest. I like to save the easiest for last. we've got decimal point 40, or 4/10. If we drop that 0 off, because it's just holding a place, we can call it 4/10. Now remember our steps over here, decimal to percent, move decimal place 2 places to the right. All right, here's our decimal. We're going to move it 1, 2. My number is getting larger. So I go from decimal point 4 to, fill my 0 in, to 40%. All right, next one is percent to decimal. So if my percent was, say, 36%, and I want to change that to a decimal, remember when you can't see it, it's at the end, I would move it 2 places to the left. So 1, 2, decimal point 36 is my answer. Drop the percent sign because now it is a decimal. And my number gets smaller.
And it's 36 hundredths.
It is 36 hundredths. Thank you very much, Ms. Tufts. All right, we're done. Have a great night.